Hello, Enchantresses. It's Shane here, and I am really excited to share this cord cutting operation, situation, ritual with you. It hit me how critical and important this is because I had a dream about a client I used to work with, and in this dream, she was holding me capture and there were other people and she was torturing all of us. And at the very end, I remember it was something that I was going to get out of this torture chamber house, except I had to do something first that was really uncomfortable and hard and against my beliefs. I don't know what it was, but I remember feeling really tested. And when I woke up into my consciousness, I was like, oh, there's cord attachments to people that don't necessarily have me in their light. And there's nothing wrong with that. And the truth is, the more I'm seen, the more you are seen, the more you put yourself out there, the more ability to have dark cords be attached to you. So in my instance, I'm doing all these videos. I have all this social media stuff going on. I'm doing lots of performing live. And my hunky-dory idea that everyone's going to think I'm amazing is not true. And so when I'm putting my energy out there in whatever form, if it's live or on social media or anywhere else for that matter, I am leaving myself open to not only give, but also receive. And not everybody is in a power to love what I'm doing. And that creates attachments. Never mind the real attachments that I create in choices in relationships that I have. And so I was working at a bar that I work at, the brewery, on Sundays. It's like my social experiment day. And I had some downtime. And in this downtime came in a man that I was intimate with. We had kissed once or twice. And if you got the communication cheat sheet from you, I shared with you my text message back and forth because I was so proud of my communication with him. Anyway, he came into the brewery and sat with his girlfriend. And I felt clean about this, and I also felt that we had excellent communication to seal things up and feel really good about it, and no harm, no foul. I wasn't attracted to him in that way anyway, and that's the truth. Except it was bothering me that they were sitting there, and that I have no romantic relationship, and I was in a bar. And I started being hard on myself, like, oh, this is the only way I get attention. And anyway, I started being hard on myself, and I was like, you know what, I have to do something about this. So I took out paper, and this is what I want to share with you. So there's many cord cutting ceremonies. There's many ways to go through meditation. And part of me wants to do this video when I have all of that compiled for you. But in the meantime, this had such a beautiful impact that I'm sharing it with you tonight. So I took out my paper, and what I realized was all of the men I had been physically intimate with, whether they had actually been inside my body or just inside my spiritual, my psyche, my karma, and I even think I included the people that I've been intimate with, men I've been intimate with emotionally. Because I do so many of these trainings, I go deep into emotional content in my emotional space, my living with men that never end up in touch at all. But they have an impact, and they have a print on my blueprint. And so it's Doreen Virtue, and she is a woman who creates angel cards and goddess cards. And she says, one of her quotes is, etheric cords act like hoses with energy directed back and forth between both people. And so I started thinking about this client, and I started thinking about people that I've worked with that loved me, and people that worked with that were like, I don't know, no feedback, but disappeared. And so cleaning that hose of all the energy that's coming at me, that's coming through me, it's not like a one-time thing. It's like a consistent practice. So what I started to do was instinctively and intuitively, you might already know who you need to cut cords with. And when I asked you guys specifically, you said relationships, expectations. And so those are great. You can use those, but they're very general. And here I was pretty specific. And so I invite you, when you do this practice, to go pretty specific. Now, mind you, I was in a bar, so I didn't have candles. I did burn the letter, which is why I can't share it with you. But you don't have to set up a whole bunch of things. We are witches, we are goddesses, we are enchantresses. You are that already. You don't have to learn anything. I hope that this inspires you, so you can also take what you get, and change it and alter it to what you want to do. So I wrote a letter. I wrote the letter. This was at the bar with this man and his new girlfriend and his girlfriend. I was never his girlfriend, sitting and holding hands, and it was bothering me. It was bothering me that it was a Sunday and that I had no one to go home to. So it was really a reflection of everything I don't have. Right? I mean, this girl also worked, this woman worked all day, and then he came to meet her. And I was like, what the hell? It was bothering me. Okay, you get that. So I wrote a letter. Dear men I have been intimate with, whether I have been intimate with you socially, emotionally, sexually, mentally, all those things. And I wrote a letter that was long. And I thanked them. And I released them. And I said, I am cutting cords with you emotionally, physically, mentally, spiritually. I will keep the memories. I will keep the lessons. I will extract all the beauty that we shared, all the love, the giving, the receiving, but I am no longer connected with you. I am no longer attached. I no longer have hopes and wishes and dreams with you, in connection with you. I welcome you as a friend or not. I have no attachments, only healthy relationships to all of the stories that we share together. And anytime you pop up into my mind, I bless you and I send you with light ahead. And I wrote about this back and forth. And in the middle of it, the guy who was sitting there started to come up again. And I was like, wow, if I have ever not spoken my truth to you, if I have ever held back, I apologize, and I cut these cords as well. I have nothing in relation to you. The stories of the past are the past. I remember the beauty. I didn't care if I repeated. I mean, if you know me, you know I just stream of consciousness writing. The faster, the better. Get it all out. Get it all out. And I made sure to mention the feelings I was having as I was writing this letter. I wrote down the gratitude for these people coming into my lives, that they were reflections of me at a certain point, but their emotional ties with me are no longer welcome. And that I really hope for myself that I can complete these cord cutting situations. That's not what I said, but you get the idea. It was along the lines of like, this is here to complete any work, anything that has been in process with you. This is here to complete those processes so that I can move on and have my grace and ease in meeting new men to be intimate with. And that your stories have nothing to do with my present moment. So the key elements in this letter: be specific in cord cutting, emotionally, security, like use the words of what cords you want to cut. And then speaking to the expectations, you can do the same thing because that's a future thing. There's actually no cords attached other than your thoughts and expectations of outcomes. So it gets a little technically fuzzy there. And when we're dealing with letters to the universe and to specific things and people and situations, I would say go more deep into expectations on who. And it might be to yourself. But cord cutting is about the past, right? Things that have already happened. And so this cord, if you think of it, think of what it looks like. And this cord has the ability to transmit energy, and it's high frequency communication. So it's beyond words. So it may explain why at certain times you have, you feel telepathy to different partners, or you're like, oh, I was just thinking about you, and then they showed up. And it's not always positive. And it doesn't mean that the person is out of your life. It just means that that situation, that time, that person, that hope, that dream that didn't happen is something that you want to sever. So if you have a new hope, dream, and wish about it, it's a new cord you're creating. And so also in this letter, giving allowance and permission for the cords that do feel good, that do serve you, to stay intact and to remain and be stronger. And so I did this at my shift in a bar. And the cool thing about that was there was a gentleman there who asked what I was doing. And I told him, because I know it's important to have a witness. Now, did I share my letter with him? Absolutely not. Did I get a lighter from him? Yes. And you can always tweak these rituals. But I would say get someone to witness you. So maybe you let somebody know. Maybe in this group you post, I'm doing this cord cutting ceremony tonight. Please hold me in the light to complete this with ease and grace. So using this group as a way to shine and share. So I'm going to give you this opening phrase, but you can use any opening phrase you want. You write the letter, you say love yourself, and then I folded it into a heart. I don't know how to do origami, but I was like, I'm folding it so it looks like a heart. And then you can close your eyes and you can say, dear spirit guides, I call upon you to help me to heal, to help me to receive the blessing, to let go of any of the past blank, blankety blank. I ask that all cords that are attached to me that do not include love, joy, peace, ease, attention to detail that serves me, to be released. I thank you. I love you. I forgive myself. And I'm sorry. And that's it. And then you can burn it. You can let it dissipate in water. I think that this is a ritual you do to burn. Now, if I was home and doing this ritual, I would definitely light candles. And I did this there, but I would do it more. After I did the letter, I held it to my heart and I gave it a hug. And I didn't let the big feelings come, but I let the feelings of the hugs I've received from all these men. I mean, they truly loved me. And I did the best I could at being myself. And so I put the letter to my heart when it is in the shape of a heart. And then I brought it outside. I held it up to the moon. And I burnt it. And I made sure the whole thing was burnt. And I sat with it while it was burning. And it really was beautiful. Okay, now to the goodies. So I came back in and I was like, well, I need to do something else. And this couple was still sitting there. And I was like, I'm not really bothered. But I'm like, I still don't have anybody to go home to on a Sunday. So I started to write a letter to the love of my life. And I made it very real. So I wasn't like mushy. I was like, thank you for fucking me right. Thank you, excuse my French, but I was like my really raw self. Thank you for being available when I need you. Thank you for having a busy schedule so we're not always in each other's space. And I started writing it and writing and writing it. I kid you not. A gentleman came into the bar that I had seen before. I never work a double. I worked a double. He came in and he was sitting there and he's like, I really am glad you're here. I haven't stopped thinking about you since I saw you at the last time I came to this bar. I live in such and such place. This bar is great, but you're here and my night feels complete. This was in the middle of my letter, writing to a lover. So I invite you to do this. And your body is waiting to release and cut the cords. If I was home, I would have laid down after I did the letter and closed my eyes, taken a couple of breaths, and imagine this cord, whatever your cord looks like. Mine right now, it looks like rope, thick rope. I imagined it like piece by piece breaking and snapping and releasing. When cords are attached by the heart, it's beautiful. When your cord is attached to somebody's heart and their cord is attached to your solar plexus, your will, it's dark. Or your sexuality, it's dark. It's heart-to-heart connections where something starts that feels the best because your heart does not lie. All right, Enchantresses, use this group for accountability. Share when you're doing your cord cutting letter writing so that we can support you and also hold space and also know that this is what you're doing. I wish you an enchanted evening. This is Enchantress Shane signing off. Have a beautiful cord cutting experience. I suggest you do it for 30 days. I'm about to do mine. Okay.